Hello, my name is Carolyn DiManellis,
Emilio Fernandez,
Lucy Turner,
Keith Cornicha,
and I play the mother type.
son type character.
daughter type.
father type.
So I think that this show, Neighborhood 3 Requisition, it is all about relationships and how sometimes as we are going about our lives, and especially as our children are growing and as our children are changing, those relationships sometimes unravel, they become tense, and it explores all these parent-child relationships and sometimes how, I would say one of the morals or lessons of this show is if you are not connected and listening and talking to your children, that can have a way of coming back to harm you.
This video game that all the kids are obsessed with in this neighborhood, and it uses satellite technology to map out their neighborhood and plants their parents' faces and bodies on the zombies, so they're basically killing their parents in the game, and then things that are happening in the game are happening in real life. Things that are happening in real life are happening in the game. And it really blurs the line between what's real and what isn't.
Just your average suburban neighborhood and what happens when AR blends with actual reality.
Suburbia, video games, zombies, wormholes, kids, parents, craziness.
I think what's relevant is I work with a lot of students and children and young adults, and I think that there is something really challenging about media and technology and video games and sort of this like overconsumption that we have where we don't actually have enough time in our day to really connect with one another in a true, present, immediate kind of way. And I think that because we all have phones and we all have this access to these sort of virtual realities, sometimes those are easier to connect with, and those are honestly like a simpler way of filling our time is with this sort of false reality as opposed to connecting with people in our lives and having those sometimes even really challenging moments in our relationships. And I think that this addresses in a funny way, in a dark way, in a truthful way, how much we struggle connecting as human beings and how much easier it is to sort of escape.
It really deals with the issue that has been a lot of helicopter parents' issues with video games for a long time and how violent they are, because that's a lot of the ways that the parents in this show attack the video game by saying that it's violent, that it's corrupting their kids, which it kind of is. And it also is very grotesquely violent. And so this is basically the pinnacle of that argument, that video game violence causes violence in kids because this video game is making kids be violent.
I think a big theme in the show is denial and how powerful but also detrimental denial can be. And I have a certain line in the show that says, you know, if you don't look at something, it can kind of blow up. And I think that's absolutely real in everything. It's hard to look at the ugly truth of things, but worse things can happen if you don't.
My take is the dehumanization of suburbia, which comes in the form of zombies and disengagement of parents and children, and you can read a lot of metaphors into zombies and suburbia, and also people just sort of losing themselves online.
I think that the really cool thing about this show is that it challenges the audience to use their imagination as much as it's challenging us as actors to use our imagination. And I think that this show is really slick in the idea of using sound and lights and projections to sort of craft this virtual reality space that the audience also enters into. I love that it is a fast-paced piece of theater, and it feels very much like a really exciting and sort of dark and twisty ride that you go on when you watch it.
A lot of really edgy kids playing this game, a lot of violence, not too graphic in any sort of way, but it is a violent show. There's a lot of talk of killing, zombies, and it gets pretty dark. And there's a lot of things that kind of make you turn your head and leave you confused, wondering what's real and what isn't.
Just a really fun, gruesome, nasty time, shame-free.
Actually a very sharp, very interesting script brought to life by very solid performers. Yeah, I'll give it that.